Hey guys, Coach Jason, hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about training in the heat. Okay, right now in the United States and most parts of the world, we are in the heat of the summer. Okay, in the U.S. it's only 2 weeks old, and we're going to have at least 12 weeks more of blazing heat, and it does affect the way you do things, particularly training, whether it be you or your athletes. And it's important to keep a couple of important things in mind. Okay, not only the obvious like hydration and fueling and stuff like that, remaining in the shade wherever you can. But there are other things that are folks might not think about that much. That kind of dawn upon you after you think about it a few times. And I actually want to credit a longtime friend, Mike Hernandez, who's a former athlete and a current coach, who made a good point today when we were talking. And it really is a good point. I'm glad you brought it up, so I wanted to emphasize it. Training in the morning, okay? There's one, not only is your resting heart rate low, and it's a good to kind of get it out of the way and just get your training in the morning. And not only is it good to simulate training in the morning, because most of the races you run are going to be in the morning, with the exception of a couple of track races or the rare road race, which is at night. But it keeps you in that morning routine, and also encourages you to get a good night's sleep, and so on and so forth. But there's another component too, and it's important. Think about it this way. Now, right now, for the most part, with everything that's going on, a lot of people are working from home. Not everybody, but which kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of when to train. Which can help. Now, you can train in the morning, you can train at night. I get some people have to train at night. I get it. But if you have the option of training in the morning or at night, I want to point something out that's important. But training at night, so keep this in mind. The sun's been out all day, okay? It's been blazing heat down the ground, the surfaces, okay? And I mentioned this in other videos as well. I encourage you to get off of the pavement as much as you can. Get on the grass, get on the dirt, wood chip, trails, whatever, if it's available. But if you're training on the pavement, that sun's been beating on it all day. And even if you train at night when the sun is down, it's still one of the hottest parts of the day on the surface, and it's radiating upward. So you're not getting as much relief as you normally would. Thinking about that. Now, on the flip side, if you train in the morning, the sun's been down for several hours, the surface has been cooling down. Even though it's hot, it's still going to be the coolest part of the day. Okay, and I encourage you or your athletes to take advantage of that. And that is a difference between training in the morning or training at night. If you can train in the morning, I highly encourage you to do so for a number of reasons. Like I said, not only does it simulate races, but it puts you in a position to train the coolest parts of the day in the summer. And any relief that you can take advantage of, I definitely encourage you to do so, or your athletes to do so. It is important, okay? The other thing that I want to emphasize is scheduling your training out in this weather, okay? You'll see in the video, in the description down below, I put a video on training in extreme weather. It would be extreme heat or extreme cold. There are a lot of similarities, but there are differences. But with regards to extreme heat, it's a good idea, and the same goes to kind of extreme cold, particularly if it's snowing out and icy and things like that. Let's say this week, and I'm on the East Coast here, and it's like almost 95 degrees. Let's say you have, say Monday and Tuesday are 85, right, for the high. Wednesday's 96. Thursday's 84. Friday's 95. Friday 83. Saturday 93, or whatever it is, and Sunday 87. I would encourage you to kind of schedule out your training. So if you're going to do a long run, do it on one of the days that's in the 80s for the high. Or work out the same thing with the 80s for the high. Try to avoid doing it in the hottest days of the week if you can. You can move things around, particularly right now where there's no racing going on. You have a lot of flexibility. I do encourage folks to do time trials to test themselves every so often. I'll put a couple of videos in the description down below on that as well. But you now have the flexibility right now to maneuver things, okay, and take advantage of a bigger block of training when you're not racing as much. And this is one of the situations where it's a good idea to move things around and take advantage of the cooler weather so that you can just recover a little bit better, not feel as drained, and be able to hydrate and refuel and recover a little bit quicker than you normally would. I've done long runs in the heat of the summer. I've definitely tried to put myself in a position doing the shade or early in the morning. I go up with my teammates and we run up in Van Cortlandt Park up in the Bronx. We do 17, 18-mile long runs on a Sunday. We'd be there at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning to take advantage of the shade as often as we could. So things like that. But scheduling your training out if you can. And I wouldn't go anywhere beyond 7 days. Generally, the weather forecasts are not as accurate beyond 7 days, but at least you know the consistency of the temperature. Very, very rarely is it going to be 85, 85, 90, 61, 85, 85. It's going to be consistently hot in the summer. So, but there can be fluctuations. I encourage you to take advantage of the fluctuations whenever you can, right now especially. Okay, this is one of these times where if you have the ability to do so, I would do so. It'll do you some good. Okay, and again, the obvious things: hydrating, flexibility, injury prevention, doing ancillary strength work, fueling before and after, and so on, and good sleep. Those are all important. Okay, but right now, these little nuts and bolts in terms of when to do it, how to do it, and so on. When you get to move these little pieces around, it's a good thing to do. So, so I want to thank my buddy Coach Mike Hernandez again for kind of reinforcing this today when we were talking, and I think it's an important point, which is why I wanted to make a video on it. So thank you, Coach Hernandez. I hope this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, please hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that notification next to it so that you not only see the dozens and dozens of really, really good detailed training videos on everything you can imagine, but you're not going to want to miss the stuff, and I'm going to be putting that moving forward either. Bottom line, if you're a coach or an athlete and you just want to become better at your craft, subscribe to this channel. Please do. And not only will you learn a lot, it will help you, but I would also greatly appreciate it. It will go a long way towards helping me make this channel one of the better channels out there. So I thank you for that. Other than that, be safe, look out for each other, train hard, train smart. Talk to you next time.